Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Shania, and in today's video I'm going to be doing part 2 of the Jane Eyre review. Okay, so this segment is going to consist of me ranking all the adaptations, whether that be a TV series or movies. I did not include the plays because I have not watched those, but the movie and TV series are really good, so I'm definitely going to give you guys that rank so you can check them out as well. Okay, so definitely check out part 1, which is just a summary of the Jane Eyre story, and I'll put that in the links above. Let's get into this battle of adaptations. So number 8 is the 1934 version, and that version is decent, but I feel like it's not that true to the characters after reading the book. And they're very handsome, they're very attractive. Like, the Jane is like a blonde bombshell, so I'm just kind of confused there, but it's decent. And if you love black and white, that's definitely one you can check out. Number 7 is the 1970 version, and that's a decent version as well, but I feel like the characters are way older than they're supposed to be. They're looking like they're in their maybe 50s, 60s, and they're supposed to be like 18 and like 40. So it was a little bit off in that way. And then the hairdressing and the makeup wasn't in the perfect time. So I'm like a theater kid, so having those things down packed is very essential to making a very great film. Number 6 is the 1943 version, and this one is good. It is a lot more true to the characters. This is probably the best for the older versions, and this one is also known for having one of the best young Jane's performances. But the thing is, this one doesn't include all the important parts, so if you want to see all the important parts, keep watching and we'll get to that. And number 5 is the 1997 version, and this one is a little bit off for me, not gonna lie. I do like it rather than the older versions. This version doesn't have like all the beauty that the ones I'm about to mention. It doesn't have like the artist's creative vibe. It's very much kind of like put together. I think the Jane character was very good, but I feel like Rochester, I don't know, he was throwing it off for me. Like, it felt like I don't think this was casted for him accurately. I think he's a great actor. I just don't think this was the role that was going to be complimenting. And number 4 is the 1996 version. This is the second best movie adaptation, and this includes my favorite young Jane Eyre, because as soon as I saw the movie, I was like, OMG, I know her. And if you guys watch True Blood, you know that that's Sookie. And it's like very interesting to see like how actors, like, they're in all this stuff as an older person, and then you catch them when they were younger and you're like, OMG, like, I didn't even know they have been acting all this time. And this version is also known as being very picturesque and very aesthetically pleasing, because it looks like it's actually from that time. They paid attention to detail to T, so I really enjoyed watching it for that. And now we're gonna get to the top 3. So number 3 is the 1983 version. This is the second best series adaptation. This one is the truest to the book. This gives you everything. It probably has like maybe 1 or 2 things that weren't included, and one of them is not included in any of them unless you read the book. This was casted to a 10. They say that Jane isn't that attractive looking and Rochester is a little rugged. He's probably the most handsome, Rochester, out of everyone. I think him and the number 1 I'm about to tell you guys, them two are like tied in who's most handsome. And then as for Jane, I don't think Jane is ugly in any of the adaptations. The performances were top tier. Like, Jane, she knew her character to a T. Rochester knew his character to a T. So to see them come together and give top tier performances was very pleasing. And also, I would say the only thing is that in the beginning it is super slow, because the whole Gateshead, Aunt's retells, and then Lowood, that was like a couple episodes, and then finally we get to Thornfield Hall, so that took a minute to get there. This version should have been my number 1, but it is number 3. But the thing is, it has one of the best scenes and one of the only adaptations to have this scene, and that scene is when Jane comes out of her room after that disastrous wedding. Rochester is right at her door, and she like falls over and faints, and he catches her, and it's like damsel in distress. Like, it was definitely giving that type of vibe. He like picks her up like nothing, like she was a feather, and carries her on down to the stairs into the living room. He lays her down, and he's like pleading with her. He's on his knees begging for forgiveness. He's trying to convince her like he was not trying to be malicious in any way. Probably watched that scene over 20 times. The actors were so passionate in performing these scenes, so that really did it for me. It honestly, it's like my top 3, they could all be number 1s, because I couldn't pick. I just had to like give them number 3, number 2, number 1. But this series, if And also for the people that have to do an assignment on Jane Eyre, if you read the book and you watch the TV series for 1983, you're literally going to pass whatever you need to take, or whatever essay you need help with. You can definitely pass by watching and reading the book. Number 2 is the 2011 adaptation, and this is the best movie version of Jane Eyre. It's honestly the best character, best script. It looks very beautiful. It was very artistic and creative. They made sure, just like that 1996 version, it was very pleasing to look at. I paid attention to detail. Everything was just top notch. And just like number 3, the 2011 version, their acting was amazing. Like, I felt like all of the passion that Jane had in that scene, and she goes back into her room and she's like ripping off the wedding dress, and you could just see how she's in distress. She's just like, oh, just take this off of me. It was just amazing to see. Like, I was really like, wow, she's acting, she's putting that feeling into it. Jane is known for being like impassioned. She doesn't have that much passion. She feels it, but she doesn't express it. And Rochester, he feels it and expresses it. So it was just interesting to see like her to just, you know, really feel that pain when she was by herself and just let it go. Another thing about the 2011 version is that it's very well put together. This story is very bleak. It can be a little boring at parts, but they did it so right. Like, they did flashbacks instead of, you know, having to go through everything. Because, you know, a movie is way shorter than the series. So they really didn't have as much time to give. So the fact that they, you know, did flashbacks, but it still made it very interesting, and it was very gothic and bleak. It was just perfect. Very perfect. And also those actors, I love them both, Mia and Alexander, in their individual films. So kudos to them for being in this. Now we are finally here to the number 1. The number 1 spot goes to the 2006 version. This is the best TV series adaptation. Everything is down to a T. The script is down to a T. It gets all of the important parts. It doesn't have everything like the 1983 version, but this one has everything that you need. This is the perfect Jane and Rochester because they definitely understood the characters, and you can tell in the way that they demonstrated the characters, how they implemented their attitudes, and how they can be changeable, how they can go from up and down to up. I watched all of these numerous times. This one is the most I ever watched. I probably watched it like 10 times. I was just so in love with the fact that the story and the plot and how they demonstrated everything, and nothing took too long. The Lowood Gateshead part, that didn't take too long because within the first episode we were now at Thornfield, so most of the attention was now on, you know, the whole story of how Rochester and Jane came to be. So I was very pleased to see that they killed that. There are some changes to the script, like they're saying things that they're not word for word in the book, and I don't mind that, because as long as you're saying exactly what the author wants to say, but if you feel like it needs to be altered to make it feel more realistic or more natural in that setting, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Because at the end of the day, when you're watching a movie, you can't expect the movie to be exactly like the book. So I think it was very cool that they switched up a lot of things. They switched up some scenes, like for example, instead of Rochester picking up Jane because she faints when she comes out the door after the wedding, they're like in the bed together and they're like rolling around with each other. Like, she's like, I love you, but I can't stay. I can't be with you because you're married, you have a wife, and they're kissing each other. It was just so passionate. You know, it might be a little controversial because it's not true to the book. There's so many adaptations. Like, if you want to see the truest one already out there, this one, it was nice to like switch up a few things. So I hope you guys enjoy the battle of adaptations. Let me know if you agree, and let me know if there's any other love stories that you'd like me to tap into and I can give a review. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one. Peace.